Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to Formula 1 news for the first time. Lots going on these last 24 hours or so. The future of Nikita Mazepin very much in question right now in Formula 1, despite what the FIA said a couple of days ago. But also, Max Verstappen seemingly signing one of the biggest contracts we've ever seen in Formula 1. Very much intrigued to your thoughts down below. Let's just dive straight into things. Haas very much in question right now as to what they're going to do with this whole Mazepin situation, because the FIA came out and said this on the 1st of March. Not really taking as severe of a stance as some people expected on this, especially like the IOC, for example, the stance that they've taken on this, effectively saying, yes, look, the Russian Grand Prix is not going ahead, but if you're a Russian or Belarusian driver, then you can still compete under a neutral FIA flag. Something similar really to what we saw when the whole doping scandal was going on with Russia in the Olympics and stuff like this, when they could compete for like the International Olympic Committee, or they could compete under like another flag than the Russian flag for a time. Seems like the FIA wants to do something similar. There was some criticism for this, right, not taking as hardline of a stance as other organisations have, seemingly, respecting the monetary interest and stuff like this. That's at least what a lot of people were suggesting on this front. But yeah, a lot of people saw this and kind of, as Chris Medland says, just outlining the fact that yes, the Russian Grand Prix still not going ahead, of course, as we all expected, not to, and understandably so. But yeah, these athletes still can compete under the FIA flag. Of course, Nikita Mazepin being a Russian driver, that's kind of where the discussion was at that point. Okay, will he still be able to compete this year? But of course, the countries themselves and the motorsport authorities can well make up their own minds. As Karen Chandok says, have to say I'm a bit disappointed with this, was hoping for a stronger stance. And well, the Motorsport UK go on earlier today to confirm that they've announced their own actions in response to this situation. The article goes into quite some detail, but the key points are right here. Recognition of licenses granted by the Russian Automobile Federation and the Belarusian Automobile Federation is suspended in the UK. Therefore, no Belarusian or Russian license team are approved to enter motorsport competitions in the UK. This, of course, being the key one. No Russian or Belarusian licensed competitors and officials are approved to participate in UK motorsport events. And of course, you'd imagine if the UK is doing this, that would mean that Nikita Mazepin wouldn't be able to compete at Silverstone, at least the way it is currently. And, you would well imagine that maybe other countries will follow in this lead. And that would mean, of course, that Mazepin's, tenure in Formula 1 is very much in question if he remains to be a Russian athlete, which is a bit of a question mark, because potentially, look, he's got a lot of money. There's a big question around this in general. Of course, it's not necessarily the athlete's fault. Of course, his father, potentially to what's going on in the Russian government, but it's not necessarily the athlete's fault. Like, there's a lot of talk about whether it's fair or not, right, that these guys have to get annexed effectively because of what their government is doing right now. At the same time, you can look at the fact that, okay, well, it's not fair what Russia's doing in Ukraine, so, why is fairness a part of this? I also do wonder, if it was the US doing something crazy, would American athletes in other sports be banned, or is it just kind of the way it seems right now from a PR standpoint that this seems a more appropriate resolution? But still, even if this does go ahead as is expected to, it's not actually guaranteed at all Mazepin's even going to be in F1 for the rest of the year. According to Express, they say it's unlikely to stay in F1 regardless, and this actually, I believe, comes from this initial tweet thread from Beck Clancy over at The Times. She says that even if Haas do stick with Mazepin, which is unlikely, he'll not be able to compete in the British Grand Prix, at least, and potentially other Grand Prix as well, which does make me think more than likely they might move in a different direction. The other part of this is possibly that Mazepin could actually compete for another country. That's the whole idea that maybe you get a dual citizenship, especially if you've got a lot of money behind you, you could potentially get citizenship in another country and therefore compete under another flag. And of course, actually, I'm pretty sure this is the discussion that was being had right here, that there's quite a lot of countries that kind of do citizenship by investment, where you just buy a property there or buy a share of a company, I don't know, and then they just kind of give you citizenship. I know that a lot of the Caribbean countries do exactly this. Probably there's other countries you could make that happen as well, and I'm sure a guy like Mazepin could potentially go down that route. At the same time, does he want to? Is there still interest from Haas to make that happen? If that was the case, all sorts of questions going around this right now. It was actually noticed, I believe, from Mazepin's Instagram that he took the Russian flag out of his bio, which may indicate that obviously he kind of wants to separate himself from the whole situation, and understandably so. But who knows if he even takes another flag and tries to compete under that. But the kind of going rumour is he might not be competing for Haas anyway once the season gets underway, and at least shortly afterwards, especially if a lot of other countries take the UK's lead in banning Russian teams and athletes from competing in their competitions. The final thing to discuss here is from Eric Van Haren. Max Verstappen's new deal here for Red Bull, supposedly up in the region of 50 million euros a year, $55 million. People are talking about 40 million pounds, something out in the ballpark. Pretty much what Lewis Hamilton signed that deal with last year. That at least is the going reporting. Seems like these guys are going to be pretty much on par. I mean, P1, P2 in pretty much everything right now in terms of, obviously places last year, Instagram followers, and seemingly the paycheck as well is going to be very similar. This did cause a bit of a stir up, right? Because last year when Hamilton kind of signed that massive deal, there was some talk from the Red Bull guys that wow, Hamilton, this guy's crazy, he doesn't deserve this much money. too expensive for Formula 1, and kind of saying, okay, there should be a pay cap and this type of stuff on Mercedes, they shouldn't be able to pay this guy so much money. And then, of course, well, a year later, when they do win the World Championship, it's obviously understandable. They want to pay their World Championship winning driver an absolute bag. And, of course, a year later, the tables have turned to some degree since this article in 2021, pretty much this time last year. And just to finish up the video with, I thought this is pretty nice, who I saw over at the Reddit, all of the F1 driver helmets for this current season. Definitely a few ones that sounded as pretty nice. Some of them I think are downgrades, kind of like Verstappen's one going into this year. Whether we will see Mazepin's, of course, does remain to be seen. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting a like button tells the YouTube algorithm this is a good video. Others similar to you should see it as well, and helps to grow the channel as fast as possible. Thanks for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.